Hi, Liz. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Julie. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you. This is the first time we're actually meeting. We've known each other online for a few months now, but I'm excited to meet with you in person. Well,
I know that's always so exciting when we can actually build, become closer friends
I
than
know.
just DMing or something. It's always nice to meet face to face and chat and get to know each other a little bit better. We were chatting before just about all our kiddos, and you're giving me all your great mom tips. That was so fun.
And about how fast time goes and how important
Oh,
it is
yeah.
to spend time with our families. So that's why we want to streamline and get our businesses working for us so that we can do just the thing that, we want to do when we first start our businesses, right?
Yes, so true. I came from a corporate background, and when I first started, so I kind of started my business on the side as a side hustle while I was still working. I didn't really love the job I was doing. I was a horrible employee because I was working on the side at the same time. And when I first started, literally, I started because I didn't have any children at the time. I have a little 5-month-old now, but this was a few years ago. When I started, the reason I started was because I looked at my schedule of, okay, right now in my life, I get up, maybe work out, go to work from 8 to 5, 8 to 6, whatever it might be, go get in my car, then go sit in traffic for probably 20, 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
go home, eat, maybe hang out with my husband, maybe watch a show or something, go to bed and do it all over again. And I looked at my life and I was like, okay, someday we want to have children. How is this going to, literally, how am I going to do this? I saw myself dropping my kid off at daycare, running to pick him up because, the daycares apparently don't stay open very long. So then you have to rush out of work, rush to pick him
Mm-hmm.
up, rush to get him a bath, play with him for 5 minutes because that's all the time you have to spend with him that day. And then, rush to put him to bed and try to do it all over again successfully the next day. And I just was like, that is not what I want to be doing. That is not the lifestyle I want. My husband's in the military, so he sometimes is deployed for half the year. So then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, and then it's going to be all on me. I'm going to have to be doing all the drop off, all the pickup, everything, which of course, having kids is a blessing, but that's not the lifestyle I wanted. And
Mm-hmm.
so streamlining and learning how to set up systems in order to get my time back, in order to stabilize my income, have some of that reoccurring revenue that gives me the financial security to be able to spend more time with my son now, not have to send him to daycare, have support come to my home, and only have to work, a few days out of the week is such a blessing. And I'm so
Mm-hmm.
thankful that I set these systems up in my business, and I do this for my mastermind students, and I do it for clients now, but it's so rewarding to have those systems set up so that when life gets in the way, you don't have to stress about, okay, where is my next client coming from, or where is my income going to come from? I don't even have the time to dedicate to outreach or getting on sales calls with people, to get that income. So having these systems in place is crucially important to have, having that as a part of your marketing and business strategy. Don't just spend all your time on social media, set up
Mm-hmm.
these things too, to back up and have that reoccurring revenue.
Mm-hmm. And it's so important, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to work our business around our life and not the other
Yeah,
way around, right?
right.
So it's so important. And it's I wish someone told me this at the beginning of my business, right? Like set up systems and automation so that your business runs right for
Yeah.
like on its own, and then you can do the things that bring you joy and not
Yeah.
work 15 hours a day, right?
Right.
Because we didn't sign up for, start our businesses so that we have to work like 15 hours a day to get everything done, right? Like that's not what we signed
Right.
up for.
No, I don't think that.
Yeah. And
Um,
just listening to you talking about, you know, getting up, getting your son ready, going drop
mm,
off at daycare, going to work, rushing to pick him up, go home, feed
yeah.
him, bathe him, put him to bed. Like that sounds exhausting. Like I do know,
Mhm,
one of my friends, she has a full-time job. She homeschools her kids. She works
mhm,
from home though. So, and she has a 6-figure a year business, but she's
mhm.
very intentional when she works on her business, and she
Yeah.
knows she works on point and systems and automations, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's a really good point. And I think for those just thinking about, okay, what systems could we set up in our business? In my business right now, like if you're just thinking about this, if it's a new concept for you, or if you're listening to this and you're like, huh, okay, I've like, band-aid approached this for a while. Let's get some systems going. This, you can start with simple ones, even just your outreach process or even just your onboarding process, putting some automations, putting, email reminders in place for people that are booking sales calls with you, having some follow-up reminders for those people to remind them like, hey, you booked this sales call. This is, what we're going to be talking about. And then even just some simple like follow-up emails post sales call. If they don't, purchase from you right away, set up those in your automation, set up those in your
Mhm.
email service provider, because even just those few simple things will give you back not only so much time, but it will also set a precedence for your customer that like, hey, this person is serious. This person has, has the confidence to be able to sell this offer to me. They're credible. It increases your perceived value. And it also helps your customer to validate buying from you without you having to set those reminders and manually email them. So
Mhm.
really just setting just those few things up will help you to close more sales and to start the process of seeing like, okay, yeah, I can make money, I can convert people, I can close a deal without having to necessarily handhold someone the whole way.
Mhm. And that's so important, right? Because then when we don't have these systems, and then we start forgetting things, and then
Yeah.
also we can get in our heads, right? Like, and we're so like fly by the seat of your pants, and
Yeah.
then you don't get work done because you have so many things on your to-do list of and things you have to remember, and like, so it can be very like it can paralyze you in some way, and then you
Yeah.
don't move forward in your business, and then you get stressed out because you're not making money, and so it's like a vicious like cycle, right?
Yes. It's a ripple effect in the bad
Yes.
way.
That's what I was looking for, that word. But anyway, I'm excited because today we're going to talk about 3 things to close 1 to 3 clients or customers every week.
Mhm. Yeah. Who else doesn't, everybody wants to close more sales
Yeah.
every single week, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah, we're both raising our hands. Let's sign more people. Let's close more deals.
Yeah. And I think that this is possible for every single one of us, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You don't have to be in a specific niche or at a specific point in your business in order to make this work. You can be just starting out. You could have success, and you're just looking to scale. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter the niche that you're in. You can you can be successful with this strategy no matter where you are starting from.
Amazing. So the first thing I wanted to ask you was, so if we're not growing, how do we know
Mhm.
if we have a leads
Mm,
problem or a sales problem? Because I
mm,
mean, I've seen that in my own business, right? So I'd love for
mhm.
you to expand on that.
Yes. So, the first step in getting to close 1 to 3 customers every single week And this is really relevant to that question too, of like, do we have a leads problem? Do we have a sales problem? The first step that we need to take is to get really clear on who our customer is. So that's just a foundational piece of like, who is our customer? What do they need? Where are they at right now? And how do they feel about where they are at? Are they
Mm-hmm.
scared? Are they overwhelmed? Are they burnt out? Are they frustrated? You know, what are those feelings that they are feeling that are holding them back? Are
Mm-hmm.
they doubting themselves? Do they lack confidence? What are those things? So once we can get really clear about who our customer is, you know, and a lot of us do work like this all the time. Like we all are continually looking and refining who our customer is. So even if you have been around for a while, this is a really good exercise to just go through like, yeah, who is my customer? What products am I offering them? And do they align? So getting really clear on your foundations will help you to know, do I have a problem with outreach? Like, am I just not getting enough people in? Or am I unclear of who I'm targeting? And therefore, the leads that are coming in aren't the right people. And so, therefore, they are not converting because I'm not messaging them in a way that is
Mm-hmm.
clear that this is the offer for them based on where they are at. Right. So that's really the foundational work that we all have to continue to do. And it's not easy, right? Especially doing it for ourselves. Like I do this for clients and help my students with this all the time. Like, okay, let's get really clear. You know, I have questions that I'm asking them to get clarity, and they're going out and talking to their customers to get clarity based on these questions. But it's hard to do it for ourselves. I struggle with it too. It's hard to put ourselves in that position of like, okay, who is our customer
Mm-hmm.
when we know so much about what we offer, but we want to make it very clear of who the person is without overthinking, like, I know what the offer is, but they don't, right? So we can't make it too complicated or they won't understand how
Mm-hmm.
we are going to help them. So it's really getting clear on, you know, who they are, what they are feeling, where they are really at in their business, and what their fears and feelings are around getting to where they really want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
And
the first step.
I know, and I struggle with that too sometimes because sometimes you say it in a way that makes sense to you, but it's
Yeah.
not clear to the
Mhm.
receiver and what exactly
Yeah.
is this and what is it can it do for me, right? So
Right.
so it's sometimes I find that it's important also to, if you have that biz bestie out there, to like run
Mhm.
it by them and be like, hey, does this make sense to you? Is it clear? Like, can you tell by reading this that this is an entry point
Yeah.
into my program or my course or whatever that
Yes.
offer is, right? To make sure that it's
Mhm.
very clear. So
Mhm.
in your opinion, um, once we're getting those people in the door, how
Yeah.
many would you say to
Mhm.
go through before you analyze the data on, the okay, like 100 people
Yeah.
came in, 200 people came in. Now I can analyze and really like see, is this a sales problem, or is
Yeah.
it like at what point?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a key metric that we look at in terms of, especially when we are automating and turning things on evergreen. Like if we have a program that has an evergreen funnel, it's always for sale.
Mm-hmm.
This is a key metric that we want to pay attention to. So I like to use round numbers. And for someone that's starting out, if this is the first time that you're selling this program or offer, I like to use 100 as a gauge. And that's 100 people to your sales page. So not necessarily like 100 people have watched your Instagram reel or even, downloaded your thing. Once they are further through the funnel, let's say you are
Mm-hmm.
bringing them in through a live training that you're doing, you have 100 people on the training, and then they're going through your post follow-up sales funnel. Once they are through that full funnel, I will take a look at like, okay, let's debrief this. Let's see what's happening inside of this funnel. What emails are people responding to? What feedback did we get on the live training? How many people saw the sales page? And then what is our conversion rate? So you just want to look at those things in terms of how many people are we getting to this page? If we don't have a sales page, maybe it's a booking page, maybe you are just booking a sales call with people, but it's still a landing page, a standalone landing page, like not your whole homepage that has, 5 navigation tabs at the top. It's a single page that we can gather data from. And you take that data and say, okay, as long as we have, 100 people through this, what's happening, and let's dissect this to see where the holes might be.
And the holes can be in quite a few different places too, right? So it's, it's important not to right away jump the gun and be like, oh, this isn't working, right? Don't give up, because it just could be a matter of a few tweaks in there, here and there to just, I think that, time evolves, and these are the things that have to evolve with time and people and trends and things like that. So I know there's statistics. So in order for us not to freak out and be like, hey, this isn't working, because I know the statistics are low. But what is a normal conversion rate after, so if we have a program or a course or I don't know, a membership or something, what are the conversions that we should be looking for, that we're like, okay, we're not doing too bad, right? Because if we're talking like a really low conversion and we don't know what that is, then that could be like, oh my God,
a red flag,
right? But not just that, we can become really hard on ourselves.
Yeah, down on ourselves. Yeah, that's a really good question. So generally, let's say we have a program that we are selling people into from a live training. Let's say it's a webinar that we have sent people to, and we are pitching inside of that, webinar, and then we are expecting people to go to our sales page and convert. From that type of experience, a live webinar will convert at a higher rate. So we can expect between, somewhere between 5 to 10% conversion rate in that type of environment. A pre-recorded, if you're doing the exact same thing, but a pre-recorded training, masterclass, webinar, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same. But a pre-recorded, you are not showing up live for the experience, will convert at a lower rate. It's not as high as a perceived value. There's a few reasons why it will convert lower, but and that's okay. You just need more traffic to get the same numbers, right? But that will convert at around a 3 to 5% conversion rate. So those are two kind of gauge metrics for you to watch for if you have that type of experience, people are going to your sales page and purchasing from you.
Awesome. So, and like in anything, right? It's a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
So once you've got that first 100 people in, we have and that's the number decreases, right? You invite to, say we have a masterclass, we invite to the masterclass. So we may have invited 500 people, then 100 people register, and then, 50 people come, which I think is high, 50 from the registered people. Then we've got the people good. That
50%.
50. Okay. So then we have the people that show up, and then from those people, you've got that 10, 20% that are going to convert into purchasing your program, your course, and that. So that's kind of like a way to look. So it's not
exactly
2 or 3% from the total that have seen the page. Is from the people who actually showed up, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah. So the people on the webinar. So in that example, 5 to 10% of the people that have registered for the training, they've shown up, or even, we could include people that have even not showed up, because we're going to be sending sales emails to them as well. following the webinar, but it's an encompassing of people that have registered. So people that have raised their hand that said like, hey, I'm interested in this topic. I want to learn more. Those are the people that are on our hot list. We don't really
Yes.
care about all the people that have just like liked our, social posts that said like, hey, I'm doing a training. Okay, that's cool. And thank you for the support. But I want to talk to the people that are actually opting in, actually showing up, that I can speak into, that we can build a relationship with,
Exactly.
and that they are ready to go the next level.
Awesome. I love that. But that's good to know, because knowing the
Yeah.
data is so important, because then we can be like,
Yeah.
okay, we're trending, like
Right.
we can kind of like, picture ourselves on where we're at
Yep.
easily, and
Yes.
not
Yep.
freak out when it's only like 10%.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Yes,
I think, you
exactly.
know what,
And
like, and I didn't know how to do the math on this, but when I launched my program 2 years ago, it actually,
mhm,
like, by the time the people showed up to the masterclass, I'm
yeah,
like, I don't have it in front of me now, but I want to say that it converted between 25 and 35%. So,
that's great.
which was, I know, but I was just like, when you're new to this, and I didn't know what the data
Yes.
was or the stats were, and I was
Yeah.
excited because, 5 people joined my program, and
Right.
then, right. So that's always an
Yeah.
exciting thing, but you should be excited even if one person joins your course or your program or your membership,
Yes.
right? Like, it's such a
Yes.
huge accomplishment, right?
Yes.
So,
What the one person does is just give you validation, builds your
mhm,
confidence, and says, like, okay, I've got one person that is hungry for this information. There are more people out there. I just have to
exactly.
continue to work my messaging.
Yes. And I think the messaging is, nobody gets it right from the beginning. I think,
No.
like, none of us do. And it's
Yeah.
that thing that's going to, I think, continue evolving with us,
Yeah.
with our program, with the changing trends and all the things, right? Like, my program is 2 years old now, 2.5 years old, and I'm still changing the messaging. like,
Yeah.
but now it's like finessing and tweaking and
Right.
making sure that it's,
Yes.
I understand it, like, I get it, right? Like, now I'm working on, okay,
Yeah.
like, the title and the tagline of my webinar, like, it has to be like on point, right? So I'm still, fiddling around with
Yeah.
that. So what
Right.
data is
But
crucial to
that's
the,
why
oh,
I was just going to say that's why the foundational pieces are so important, of really, really understanding who our customer is, getting clarity on what are these people struggling with? How can I help them? What are their feelings around getting help on this? Because all of that builds upon, that those are the foundational pieces to build your messaging, to build your offer off of.
mhm.
So, getting clarity is crucial, is the number one step that you do not want to skip. Otherwise, you will spend months, maybe years, trying to sell an offer and it not converting because you have the foundational piece. You missed that step.
Mhm. Awesome. So was there other data that would be crucial to growth of our business?
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of key metrics that we do not want to skip over when we are growing an online business. And the best thing that having an online business gives you is data, because everything we do has some sort of trackability. So we can measure our success and build upon it. We can refine it. We can fine tune it, finesse, as you said, so that our numbers continue to get better. We get better at selling and our business continues to grow. Things like, let's just look at our online business from a place of, this isn't a hobby. We're trying to build something for the future, not just today. So we have to put our data hat on in order to understand these metrics. Not everybody is going to be naturally interested in the numbers side of their business. And if you really hate it, just get help. find someone that can help you understand the numbers, because it's going to be the difference between you being successful and you continuing to work your business like a side hustle.
Or trying
So
to
some of
figure
those,
out what's working and what's not working.
yes, yes. And some of those numbers, you know, if we're thinking about looking at it through a lens of having a digital product, an e-course, a program, a mastermind, it's a different sale. So we're trying to sell to a greater group of people. So we need to look at data like how many people are coming to our landing page? Where are we sending traffic? What do our conversion rates look like when we are selling our offer? Are our conversion rates getting better? You know, are they improving or are they going down? Now, keep in mind, if you have more traffic that you are sending to your page of your perfect customer, the second time you are offering your product for sale, your numbers will go down because you have more people. So that means a smaller percentage of people will buy, but it's going to be more people in total.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like your 20 to 30% conversion rates probably were lower the next time because you had more people coming to the training.
Right.
Although you might have still, although you probably sold more people into the program, your conversion rate was oftentimes lower, and it might have been for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's okay, right? Like the same thing with an email list. If we have like 100% open rates on a small email list, say we have 100 people on our email list and everyone's opening it all the time, fantastic. You have the right people on your email list, thumbs up to you. As you continue to grow your business, you'll start to get some people that might not be the perfect customer for you today. Maybe they'll buy from you in 3 to 6 months. We still want them on our email list. We still want them opening our emails, but they might not click every link, right? So then that makes our numbers drop. That's okay. We still want that person. We still want to continue to bring people into our world, to get them on our email list, to invite them to take the next step with you. So keeping a look at, you know, those metrics as a gauge of, you know, how are we going? How are we growing? Where can we fine tune our automation? What emails do we might want to tweak or pull out of our funnel? Which ones can we add in? What content is resonating? Things like just looking at your clicks, your open rates, your views, give us an indication of the content that is resonating really well with our audience. And that is one big piece of how you're going to sell consistently every single week, is knowing the content that is going to resonate with your offer. And it's not always going to be, hey, I have an offer, buy my thing. The ones, at least in my experience, the emails and the content that resonates the most, that oftentimes tends to get people moving forward and kind of gets them off their butt, is the content that I'm sharing about, you know, the mindset shifts that need to take place, or the myth busters that I'm sharing with them that makes them think about a topic from a new perspective. But if we don't look at our content and understand how people are engaging with it, we'll never know what content we need to make more of.
I love that. And I've noticed that with my email, because I've been purposely growing my email list over the last 6 months with, you know, a summit, and then participating in summits and bundles and things like that. And I don't have a huge email list, but I went from 1,800 to like almost 6,000 within a span of, you know, a short amount of time. And I've noticed a decrease in open rates and click rates, but I knew that the bigger the list, you know, the percentage is going to come down. And then, you know, I can continually, because I like, I'm a little bit of I like house cleaning my list. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I love cleaning my list. So twice or a couple of times, maybe 3 times a year, I'll go
Mhm,
through and I'll do the thing. And then of course that helps always.
mhm.
But yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, that's common
Hmm.
for most people as they grow their business.
Hmm.
The smaller the list, the more intimate experience, the deeper the inner circle. As we grow, the circle tends to get a little bit bigger because if you think about it, think about like first, second, and third connections on LinkedIn, right? This is a good kind of example because most people are on LinkedIn. Your first connection is people, like us. We've connected now. We're friends. Maybe we'll meet for coffee. We'll be in like an inner circle together. Your second connections might be someone that you just met at a networking event that you're like, oh yeah, let's be friends on LinkedIn, but you're not like close, deep relationships with them.
Hmm.
Your third connection is, oh, that friend that you just met at a networking event, they have a referral that they know that you would be great for. They're like, oh yeah, you want to market and promote a digital product, an e-course. You want to learn how to build an evergreen funnel. Oh, Liz is a perfect person for that. I'm going to recommend you to her. And now you have these people coming in to your email list that some are in your inner circle and some are just getting to that point of getting to know you. And so that's why our numbers will dip once the circle gets bigger. But that doesn't mean those people aren't as important as the person inside of your inner circle. They just haven't, that third connection just hasn't gotten to that first point yet.
Hmm. And so that's why it's so important to consistently engage and consistently serve our audience, right? So
Yeah.
we're creating that community.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And we want to be able to consistently do this so that the numbers that we are looking at, going back to your question about what data points are we looking at, what metrics are we looking at, when we're doing this consistently, we take out the variables of like, oh, I didn't send an email that week, or oh, I didn't do my normal live that week, or I didn't have a training that day and I did last time when I launched it, right? Like it takes out the variable in our data points and it makes much more of an even A/B test,
Hmm.
so that we can look at our numbers holistically and say like, okay, everything we're doing on a month to month basis is consistent. Where are the numbers? What can we do to streamline this? What can we do to start to scale this? This is working. Let's keep doing this.
Hmm. I love it. Okay, so once we've done all that, what can you ignore?
Oh, in terms of metrics, the things to ignore really depend on where you are in your business. If you're in the beginning stages,
Hmm.
consistency is going to be the thing that you want to pay attention to the most. Sending out consistent emails, posting consistently, like your outreach, because you're starting to just build your list. You're in the attract your audience of like a 4-step strategy. So if you are looking at a 4-step marketing and promotion strategy for your e-course, you're at just step 1. If you're starting out, if you're
Hmm.
beginning, you're just attracting your list to you. So consistency is what you want to focus on there. As you start to attract your people, you want to build your list. Once people are on your email list, again, consistency, but we want to pay attention to, okay, now what are our open rates? Now what are people clicking on? Where are we sending people to invite them to go deeper with us?
Hmm.
If we don't have an offer, we can ignore things like click-through rate because we might not necessarily be sending them anywhere. Other things as you start to build your launch, the things that you can ignore are, you don't have to have all the bells and whistles in order to take your list and invite them to purchase from you. You don't have to have every system and tool set up perfectly. You can have a simple system and still be just as successful.
Mhm.
So don't get distracted by watching people that are further along than you have all of these things set up. For example, I just talked to a group of women this morning that are ready to have an e-course business. They are at 75% with their one-on-one clients, and they're ready for that next step, more income stability, and they are ready for having a digital product. And they were asking me questions about, evergreening and having an ongoing sales funnel and automation, all that stuff, which I love talking about. But I also reminded them, like, hey, you're at step 1. Don't try to be at step 10. You don't need tools like deadline funnel or complicated, ClickUp or, complicated funnels in order to be successful at step 1. So try to block out any distractions from getting you to step 2 and 3 that other people are doing at step 10.
And I think sometimes part of the distraction is thinking ahead of all the different things we can create in our businesses.
Yes.
And sometimes we get sucked in there because we are creatives and we have so many good ideas, right? But we can get really stuck in there. And then, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And then you don't do the one thing. So I'm always like, start with the one thing. What is the one thing?
Start
right?
and commit to the one thing.
Yes.
A lot of times when I work with people that have launched an offer already, they're like, it worked kind of, but not that well. Maybe you can help me relaunch, but maybe I want to have a different offer this time, or maybe I want to change the price, or maybe I should take out this content or that content. And I'm like, whoa. It was, somewhat successful the first time. Let's just look at what was not successful. Maybe your emails weren't that great. Maybe you forgot to send out, a bunch of emails on the last day of your cart close, or maybe you forgot your whole entire follow-up sequence altogether. Like, let's just add that one thing with the same offer and relaunch it.
Stay the course.
You don't have to create a new offer every single time.
Awesome. Okay, so how do we close a client every week?
Okay, so we talked about getting clarity on who our customer is. So that's step 1, getting clarity on who our customer is. Once we have that, we can create our minimum viable offer, which will give us credibility. We don't have to have a ton of testimonials or people that have already worked with us in order to have credibility. It's more about the confidence and your ability to pitch the offer to your perfect customer in a way that resonates with them based on who they are, where they are at right now, and what they want right now, how they're feeling about that offer or how they are feeling right now, and how we can get them what they want right now. But if it's our perfect customer, our offer will be the gap between where they are right now and where they want to be. If we can do that, it doesn't matter if you have just started out or you've been doing this for 20 years. People just want to have direction and clarity. I tell, people all the time, especially like in my world, because you can go and find YouTube videos, find podcast interviews, search Pinterest blogs, and find the information that you need. But it becomes overwhelming when there's so much. So that gives us credibility, or that gives us validation that, like, hey, this is something people want, but they are also overwhelmed. So let's give them direction and let's give them clarity. And that helps to build our credibility if we can do that. The third thing that we need to do is fuel our content based on the information that we have gathered about who our customer is. If we can do those things, we can convert at a higher rate. We can sell more people. If we can do those 3 simple things, get clear on our customer, have credibility, be confident in your offer because you know who your person is, you know what they want, you know how to offer it to them. You can be the gap between where they are now and where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And your content will help shift their mindset to say like, oh, yep, Julie is the perfect person for me, or Liz is the perfect person for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know anymore. You don't have to have a fancy sale. You don't even have to have a fancy sales page.
No, I know. I know people who sell like who made millions and have no sales pages.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's possible. But
It is.
also, wouldn't you agree, Liz, that I think you have to feel aligned with your offer and you have to really back it up in order to get those sales too, because if you're not behind your offer 100%, if you're not excited about your offer, excited about helping that client that you
Oh,
can
yeah.
help, I think that can make a difference too, right?
Oh my gosh. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a perfect example in my own business. On the agency side of my business, we manage Facebook and Instagram ads for people. I have been asked so many times, hey, could you teach me how to do Facebook or Instagram ads? Could you teach me how to do what you did, but I want to like know how to do it on my own? Could you create a course around this? It is not aligned at all. I could have made a ton of money doing that. People really want to learn Facebook and Instagram ads. It's a great tool for your business. And it's a great tool to learn how to leverage it for your business. But it is not aligned. I will let someone else do that. It's not aligned for me. And so I have never done it. I continue, we still have it on the agency side of the business. We do it from a done for you perspective, but it's not something that I want to coach and teach.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't done it. If your offer doesn't feel aligned for you, if it feels like heavy when you talk about it, when you even think about creating content for it, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. And people
Find
are going to
something.
feel that. They're going to read
Yes.
right through it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the energy won't be there. You won't be as excited when you don't make the sales that you're hoping for. You'll, doubt yourself. You'll doubt the offer because you're like, oh, maybe this wasn't right. And it's more your energy
Yeah. So
than
important.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. This was so great. Thank you so much for like all of the chats. That was such good content. So many good tips to, move forward in our business and everything. But you have like a really juicy freebie for us.
Oh, yeah. So, well, thank you for having me. This has been a really fun conversation.
Mm-hmm.
For those people that are thinking about adding a digital product or adding an e-course as part of your offer suite, you want to have that income stability, or maybe you just want to transition away from like a one-to-one model. An e-course, a program is a great way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a blueprint of how to market and promote your e-course. Julie will have the link so you can go and grab it. It literally provides, step-by-step strategy for what you need to think about and also the tactics behind implementation of everything that goes into marketing and promoting an e-course. And as you go through this blueprint, I just challenge you to remind yourself that this is a different model than a one-to-one. And once you create it for the first time, the next step is just refining. You're not building it from scratch every single time like you might do with a custom approach with a one-to-one model, right? That can feel really heavy of like doing it every single time. This is, let's build it, let's refine it, and then sell it again, right? And use these same marketing and promotion strategies to do it again. And so as you look at this blueprint, there's tools that you could use. There's different strategies that you could take. Don't get overwhelmed in thinking through all of those. Get help where you need it. Reach out to me if you have questions or you want support in these areas. I have a intimate group, a mastermind that also takes people through this entire process, setting everything up, marketing and promoting your offer. So get help where you need it, but also use this blueprint as a guide as you look and think about what this could do for your business. There's a lot of opportunity, and having this as part of your offer suite will give you that time freedom that you are probably working towards right now. But you're going to have to do a little bit of work in order to get there. So just go at this type of model from that perspective, that like, okay, I can do the work, I can set this up, I can follow this blueprint, or I can get help from Liz, get help from Julie, get help from people that have already done this.
Mm-hmm.
So I can shorten my learning curve, get there faster, and then I won't have to build the same thing again. I can just continue to sell it. I can just continue to focus on bringing in people to my world. Like Julie, you know, she's crushing getting her email list going, and you can just focus on that. Like you can just focus on one thing rather than having to focus on a bunch of things with a one-to-one model. So that blueprint is there for you, you know, market and promote your e-course, complete blueprint. There's a checklist in there. There's some tools that you might want to consider using. I included the links in the blueprint as well. So check that out and use that as a guide as you go through this process and think about what your strategy for marketing and promoting is going to be.
Awesome. I love it. I'm going to have that in the show notes for everybody. But in the meantime, if they want to know more about you or your mastermind, where can they find you?
Yeah, sure. I hang out a lot on Instagram. You can find me at lizboer_com, LIZBOER_com. I also have a podcast called Marketing to Millions, where we talk about all these strategies and tactics. So you can check that out as well. My website is lizboer.com. A lot of information and resources available for you there too. So those 3 places are where I spend most of my time. So yeah, don't hold back in getting your questions answered if you have them.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Liz. It's been so great talking to you. And I know we get to talk again because you're also part of the BBB Summit, which is coming up. Well, it will have passed by the time this airs, but we'll have had our chat already.
Yeah.
But it's been
Awesome.
so great getting to know you better.
Yes, it has been wonderful chatting with you as well. So I'm excited for our summit. And by this time that this airs, we'll be celebrating all of the awesomeness that happened in the summit. So we're just sending out all the good vibes for the summit in advance.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Yep.
And for all of you listening, I will see you on the next episode.